Shudder's got a new horror story laden with grief and loss with a supernatural, conspiratorial, and psychological bend to it. Some call this elevated horror. I tend to label it as grief porn. The twin sort of falls into both categories. Welcome back to ML Miller Frights. I'm ML Miller. Before we begin, please do me a favor and punch that like button down below. Share this video with all of your social media addicted pals. Click subscribe to this channel and ring that bell for notifications. The Twin is new streaming on Shudder. It's directed by Taneli, Mustonen and written by Aleksi, Hyvärinen and Taneli, Mustonen. After they lose their son Nathan in a car accident, Rachel, played by Teresa Palmer, and Anthony, played by Stephen Cree, decide to move to Finland with Nathan's twin, Elliot, played by Tristan Ruggeri, to start over and attempt to deal with this massive loss to their family. Once in their new home, Elliot begins acting strangely, talking with an imaginary friend, wanting to play only with Nathan's toys, and eventually wanting to be called Nathan instead of Elliot. Concerned with her son's behavior, Rachel reaches out to the local psychiatrist, and when that fails to help, a local outcast who believes in witchcraft and conspiracy theories surrounding the small Finnish town. With her husband having secret meetings with the neighbors, Rachel's paranoia rises as she desperately searches for what's wrong with her son. The Twin is a confounding film. It seems like it wants to take elements from both of Ari Aster's films, Hereditary in dealing with the loss of a child, and Midsummer in being a stranger in a strange and possibly dangerous new culture. It plays with these elements well, but then decides to get fancy with it, and that's where the film falls apart with me. You see, M. Night Shyamalan kind of ruined my innocence when it comes to cinema. Ever since he got me with The Sixth Sense, I doubt the movie I'm watching. That goes triple for horror movies. And while The Twin attempts to be clever with its twists, I found myself calling them out very early on and couldn't shake it for the entire runtime, until finally I found out I was right about my presumption. Now, I'm not looking for kudos for figuring out this mystery, but I do think that savvy cinephiles will most likely notice some key details as well. The problem is that the film plays the truth close to its vest for an extremely long time. It tries to veer that notion with some clever editing, some playful wordplay, and some misdirection, but for the entire runtime of The Twin, I found myself feeling that it wasn't telling me the entire story. It was like a person holding a fish in one hand and nothing in the other. The person spends an extended amount of time explaining how the fish is not in his right hand, even though it's gooey and dripping and a fin is sticking out between his right fingers. Yet still the person is adamant that the fish is in his left hand. That's kind of how I felt while watching The Twin. Now, Teresa Palmer is a fantastic actress, so it's not excruciating to see the whole plot play out. I hadn't seen her in anything since Warm Bodies, and while she was strong in that teen horror comedy, with maturity comes more gravitas in her abilities. This helps sell the plot, as she is a wonderful actress to see go through such a perilous journey. Elliot, played by Tristan Ruggeri, does a decent job. He's not an annoying kid actor. He's really not given a lot to do. The film centers on Palmer for the most part, but I found his resemblance to Jack Black in Nacho Libre to be a little distracting. Though his actions are sort of shrouded in mystery, Stephen Cree does a decent job with what he's given. He has to play a restrained role, keeping vital information from both Rachel and the audience. It's a difficult role to pay off, but his grieving performance works for the most part. That is, until the end, where Anthony must monologue for what feels like an eternity, so that even those who are occupying the cheap seats understand what's going on. I understand the need to clear the air, but man, does this ending drive the point home like a sledgehammer to a needle. Again, both leads try their damnedest to sell it, but that doesn't save the climax from feeling extraneous. There's some decent mystery, a heavy dose of potent paranoia, and some unsettling images to enjoy with The Twin. The director, Tennelly Mustonen, was responsible for the truly excellent Lake Bodom. I suggest rewatching that masterpiece in horror and suspense instead of The Twin. It tries too hard to convince you that it's something that it's not until the end, when it turns out it's exactly what you expected. And the film hinges on that misdirection for way too long.
You're doomed to live the life you're meant to be, stuck inside your reality. You're doomed. Oh, you're doomed. You're doomed. You're doomed. Live the life that you are meant to be. Live inside